Boyfriend on Demand follows So Mirai, a webtoon producer, whose already stressful life gets flipped upside down when she's selected to test a virtual reality dating app. In today's video, I'm going to break down everything I think went wrong with this drama, and then I'll show you how I would have rewritten it to make it more compelling. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I don't even think my rewrite is anything revolutionary, but the execution of this drama leaves a lot to be desired. And since I love overanalyzing shows and movies, and I love writing, we're going to get into it. And I'm not saying no one can enjoy this drama. This is the kind of drama we can binge with friends in one night and have a great time. So, if that's your thing, stay tuned. Disclaimer, spoilers ahead. So let's go over a quick overview of all of my issues. So first, the romantic leads lack chemistry. Jisoo feels miscast in the leading role. Jiyeon's storyline is more compelling than Mirai's. There's almost no emotional stakes. The virtual romance is better than the real one, and Park Yeon-nam is painfully underdeveloped. Now let's start with the biggest issue. The romantic leads lack chemistry. I think this comes down to both the writing and, unfortunately, the performances. The romance between the endgame couple doesn't even start until episode 5, and by then it's too late to care. The first half of the show focuses on workplace competition, setting up an enemies to lovers dynamic. That should work. The formula is there, but the problem is Mirai and how Mirai is written and how she's portrayed. I feel like she was supposed to be more like Jiyeon, her best friend in the show. Loud, expressive, emotional, a perfect foil for Yeonnam's stoic personality. Instead, she comes across as timid, passive, and barely competitive, so the tension just isn't there. Half the time, their dynamic is as entertaining as watching paint dry. Yeonnam doesn't show any real interest in Mirai early on, so when he suddenly confesses in episode 5, it feels completely unearned. Their romance ends up feeling like an afterthought, like the writers suddenly remembered, oh right, these two are supposed to end up together. 2. Jisoo feels miscast. To be clear, Jisoo isn't a bad actor. I think she's actually pretty good. But she wasn't right for this role. Her performance leans too passive, which completely kills the competitive dynamic the show was trying to build. The problem I had with her acting is that a lot of her reactions to other characters and what the characters were saying fell very flat. It's like she focused on delivering her lines well, but she didn't listen to the other actor to react appropriately to what they were saying. So if another character in the show said something like, the building is on fire, her reaction would have somehow still been duller than a box of nails. Someone like Ha-young, her co-star, would have brought the energy, presence, and contrast needed to make that dynamic actually work. 3. Jiyeon's story is more interesting. Jiyeon, played by Ha-young, is chaotic in the best way. She's a serial dater with no self-awareness, constantly complaining about modern dating while actively participating in it. She's aggressive, funny, and deeply flawed, and that's what makes her interesting. Honestly, her storyline had way more potential for conflict, growth, and actual themes. She also would have been a much better match for Yeonnam. Their personalities naturally create friction and balance, something the main couple completely lacks. 4. No emotional stakes. Most of the conflicts in the show go nowhere. For example, Yoon Sung, a webtoon author in the series, is accused of plagiarism from a company she is actively working with, Boyfriend on Demand. That should be a huge deal. Instead, she just unceremoniously gets fired, and that's basically it. All of her conflict just happens off screen, so it doesn't impact Mary's career, it doesn't create lasting tension, it doesn't change anything. So why should we care? This happens over and over again. Conflicts get introduced, then quickly wrapped up with no weight behind them. Everything feels shallow as a result. 5. The virtual romance is better. This is probably the most ironic issue. Mary's relationship with a virtual character named So Eun-ho is way more compelling than her real-world romance. He helps her grow, supports her emotionally, and actually spends meaningful time with her. There's development, there's chemistry, there are stakes. I was rooting for them, and he's not even real. Meanwhile, the real romance feels rushed and underdeveloped. It honestly feels like they ended the virtual relationship just to force the main couple back together. 6. Gyeongnam is underwritten. We barely know anything about him. There's no real backstory, no family, no personal life outside of work. Why does Miri like him at all? Why should we like him? Because he's attractive and quiet? Even later in the show, the little details we get, like him drawing or being at home, doesn't really build full character. He just exists to fill the main lead role. So now let's actually rewrite this story. Not just small fixes, I mean a full restructure. Jiyeon becomes our main character, Gyeongnam gets an actual arc, and Miri, she steps into the background where she works better. So the setup. Jiyeon is chaos. She's a serial dater, an impulsive shopper, and someone who cannot be alone. Every relationship she enters, she goes all in, fast, intense, overwhelming. And every time it starts to get real, she leaves. Not because the relationship is bad, but because it might become bad. Because in her mind, that's how it always ends. She grew up watching her parents fall apart. A messy divorce, constant tension, and a mother who drilled one idea into her head. Find the perfect man or suffer the consequences. So Jiyeon builds her life around that belief. Her mother meddles in her dating life as well. Helps Jiyeon with choosing good outfits, background checks the guys, secretly sits in on dates, and if a relationship isn't perfect, it's doomed. If it's challenged, it's already failing. So she runs, and then replaces it over and over and over again. Enter Gyeongnam. Where Jiyeon is loud, emotional, and impulsive, Gyeongnam is the exact opposite. Quiet, precise, controlled. He lives alone, keeps to himself, and pours everything into his work, because that's what he was taught. His mother left when he was young, and his father made sure he never forgot it. Focus on success, not relationships, because people will disappoint you. Women will disappoint you. And for the most part, Gyeongnam listened, until college, when he met someone who made him want to try, a beautiful girl named Kimmy. She's athletic and smart, and Gyeongnam liked her for her passion. He confesses, a nosy crowd forms, and he gets rejected. Not gently, not privately, publicly, humiliatingly. And just like that, his father was right. So he shuts that part of himself down. No dating, no vulnerability, no risk, just work. Now put these two in the same office and make them competitors. No subtle competition either. I'm talking full-on, over-the-top rivalry. They treat webtoon rankings like a scoreboard, fight over top clients, try to outmaneuver each other at every turn. Jiyeon plays her cards using her charm, personality, and social skills to win over clients. Gyeongnam plays his cards by sitting back and observing. He pays attention to what the client wants, rather than trying to win them over socially. Coworkers start placing bets. Who's going to win this week? Who's going to land the bigger client? And the thing is, they love it. They love the tension, the energy, the constant push and pull. They say they hate each other, but it's obvious to everyone else that's not what this is. Underneath the rivalry, Gyeongnam likes her first, but he doesn't act on it. He can't, because liking someone means risking rejection, and he's already learned what that feels like. So instead, he teases her, he challenges her, pushes her buttons, because it's safer that way. She brings him out of his shell. Jiyeon, on the other hand, completely oblivious. To her, he's just annoying, frustrating, weirdly insightful, because he calls her out when she jumps from relationship to relationship, when she avoids real conversations, when she refuses to sit with herself. And she hates that, but she also listens. Miri teases her about this and encourages her to pursue things with him and stop her constant pursuit of the perfect soulmate. Jian denies she likes Gyeongnam. She says she will find her soulmate and that he's out there somewhere. Side plot. Yoonsung is struggling to stay in the top 5 on the webtoon list. Jian is chosen to take Yoonsung as a client. She and Yoonsung bicker constantly, but otherwise get on enough to work together. As a serial dater, or romantic expert, Jian gives Yoonsung a lot of help on how to progress her webtoon, The Man You Know. The Man You Know now has a steady position in the top 5. Yoonsung and Jian go to meet Min Junyoung, a rep for Boyfriend on Demand. He contacted Yoonsung to ask if his company could use her character Choi Si-woo in the app Boyfriend on Demand. Yoonsung agrees. Then comes the app Boyfriend on Demand, and Jian is the perfect candidate. A serial dater who's tired of real men? Of course they recruit her. Her mother finds out that she was recruited to test out this app, and she tries to convince Jian not to participate in it. Of course, Jian tells her mother that the current dating landscape sucks, and she signs up for her first free trial. And at first, it's everything she wants. Perfect guys, perfect dates, no conflict, no effort. She dives in completely, writing reviews, testing scenarios, living out every possible romance. Now back at work, Jian's work performance starts to slip. Yoonsung's webtoon drops to number 6 on the webtoon list. Yoonsung calls her pissed off, complaining about everything, internet trolls, threatening to quit, etc. The boss calls her into the office and chews her out. Gyeongnam sees them through the glass. He's concerned. Gyeongnam talks to her in the break room. Is it another breakup? Jian denies it and even lies, saying she has a boyfriend. Technically, it's true. She has a virtual boyfriend. Jian tries to reassure him with her usual bravado. Time skips. Jian sees that she needs to keep her work-life balance. She knows that she can't be slipping at work while also using this app. So she tries her best to cut time from the virtual world and spend more time in real life. And what keeps her grounded in real life? Shopping. Over time, that novelty wears off and she finds herself back in the virtual boyfriend world. Something feels off because there's no challenge, no friction, no unpredictability. She liked it before, so what happened? Without that challenge, without the friction, it feels empty. So she upgrades. She creates her ideal partner. Custom, exclusive, just for her. And then he appears. He looks exactly like Gyeongnam. Pause. She freezes, denies it immediately, gets angry at the system, at the virtual assistant, at anything that isn't herself. But the truth is obvious, even if she refuses to say it. And after that, everything changes. She can't look at Gyeongnam the same way. She gets awkward, avoidant, flustered, trips over her words, avoids eye contact, and Gyeongnam notices, because of course he does. But he misreads it, thinks she's uncomfortable around him, that she doesn't like him, so he pulls away. And when he finally confronts her, she laughs it off, denies anything. And that hits him harder than he expects, because it feels familiar. The rejection. All over again. Their dynamic breaks. There's no more rivalry, no more back and forth. Gyeongnam buries himself in his work. Jian doesn't know how to fix what she broke. So she escapes, back into the app, back to the version of him that feels safe, predictable. But even there, she can't run from the truth, because the virtual version tells her exactly what she's avoiding. You like him. And this time, she doesn't have an easy way out. It's hard for her to reconcile these feelings, but she ultimately decides to accept them. And she decides, in the real world, she's going to tell him. No running, no deflecting, just honesty, until she sees him in the same bar and grill that she is. She's hanging with Mirai, having a girl chat, drinking, and is trying to blow off steam. Across the way, at the bar and grill, in a private room with a large group of other people, what catches her eye? He's sitting next to another woman. Who is she? Kimmy, the girl who rejected Gyeongnam back in high school. Now, of course, she doesn't know that this is a random girl that rejected him back in high school. All she sees is that he's with another girl and they're sitting very, very close. Gyeongnam is at a class reunion. Kimmy and Gyeongnam have an awkward introduction, but they stay polite. Everyone is having fun, reminiscing about the good old college days. Something in Jiyeon snaps. She drinks too much, too fast. And before Mary can stop her, she walks straight over. She forces herself into the conversation, sits between them, Kimmy and Gyeongnam, and starts talking, listing everything she knows about him, personal details, habits, preferences. I'm the one who knows him. The table goes quiet. Some people laugh, some people are uncomfortable. Gyeongnam, he's frozen. Why is she here? Because he doesn't know what this is. A joke? A confession? A breakdown? And then he starts laughing. Not at her, but because the situation is so absurd. It breaks the tension completely. Time skips. Miri and Gyeongnam are pulling a drunk Jiyeon out of the restaurant. Kimmy calls Gyeongnam over to talk before she leaves. Jiyeon gets angry and riled up all over again. Miri covers her mouth and pulls her away. Miri apologizes to Gyeongnam. Gyeongnam, despite being unsure of himself, goes to talk to Kimmy. Kimmy tells him it was nice to see him. Gyeongnam only responds with a nod because he doesn't know what to really say. Kimmy apologizes for how she treated him in the past and wishes him good luck with Jiyeon. Gyeongnam grows speechless for a second before denying it. Kimmy smiles knowingly at him and tells him to have a good night. Time skips. Gyeongnam is at home, sitting outside on his balcony. After a moment, he smiles, thinking back to Jiyeon's hilarious behavior at the bar. He thinks, does she like me? The next morning at the office, Jiyeon has a bad hangover, and when this happens, she calls the one person who can tell her what she did the night before, Miri. Miri bluntly tells her that she made a fool out of herself last night, crashing Gyeongnam's class reunion, claiming ownership of him. She was a mad woman. Jiyeon is overwhelmed with embarrassment and shame. How can she face him now? Time skip. At the office, Jiyeon goes into work incognito. Black outfit, black headscarf, black sunglasses. Problem is, she sticks out like a sore thumb. Gyeongnam watches her from the break room window, coffee in hand, as she walks around like a terrible spy. She walks backward into the break room, unaware that he's there. He asks her what she's doing. Jiyeon gets jump-scared by his presence. She stumbles over words at first, but eventually apologizes for her behavior last night. Gyeongnam asks her if she likes him. She grows quiet, warring inside of herself of whether or not she should confess how she really feels. And the first thing she says when she opens her mouth is, "Will you hurt me? Will this even work?" Gyeongnam says he doesn't know, but he says he wants to try, and he'll do everything he can to be a good partner to her. They go on their first date. It's a little awkward at first, but eventually they relax into their normal rhythm of bickering, going back and forth. All around, they're comfortable. They feel happy. They start to have a little bit of fun. After their dinner, they go out for a stroll and enjoy each other's company. But Jiyeon is scared. What if it doesn't work out? What if this feeling doesn't last forever? One night, on the way back from a date, Gyeongnam and Jiyeon see her mother outside of her house. The unreadable expression. They all go inside and sit awkwardly around the table. Gyeongnam is nervous, but he tries to be polite. Jiyeon's mom watches him, observes him suspiciously. And let's preface this. Like, all Jiyeon's mother knows about Gyeongnam is her daughter's rants. She assumes that her daughter hates this man, or hated this man, and now they're dating each other. She's confused. If this man caused her daughter so much trouble at work, how much more trouble is he causing her in this relationship? Or will he cause trouble in the future? So she's worried. Eventually, Gyeongnam says goodbye to Jiyeon and goes home. And as soon as he leaves, her mother tells her that she doesn't like him, that he will break her heart, that it won't last. And Jiyeon, for the first time ever, stands up to her mom and says, "Well, I like him, and I want to be with him, and I don't want to spend the rest of my life worrying about what could go wrong. I want to see where things go." She just left her daughter with, "Don't come crying to me when he breaks your heart." And she leaves. Jian now sits in her apartment alone, feeling so torn. Meanwhile, Gangnam goes home, and now he feels scared that he might lose Jian because of the weird, awkward exchange that they had with her mother. He knew that her mother didn't like him at all, but he didn't know what to do to try to win her over or to reassure her. And to make things worse, when he gets back to his home, his father is waiting, and just the first thing his father says is, "You didn't tell me." Gangnam knows exactly what he's talking about, and he says, "I didn't know I needed to." His father cuts him off and says, "I thought we agreed to focus on your career. I told you before that woman, especially a woman like that, you don't even know her." His father says, "She will leave you. She will break your heart. She will reject you." And after that back and forth, Gangnam is alone in his apartment. The next day, they see each other. They meet each other in the back of the break room. Jian speaks first and says, "I want to try. I want to continue to try. I've been scared all my life." Gangnam speaks and says he wants to try too. The drama comes to a close with a brief montage of them continuously dating, growing, evolving in their relationship. And we also see that each of their parents slowly grow to accept their partner. And that's the end of my version of the drama. If you liked my rewrite, if you liked this video, and if you stayed here to the end, thank you very much. But if you want more videos like this in this style, please feel free to like this video, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you all next time.